my kindergarten dolphins. We're back in the Christmas cavern and we're ready to work on some reading. So let's go over our objective for today. I've got my Christmas pointer and it says, I can decode, which means I can read words by sounding them out. So this fancy word here, decode, just means that we're going to be using our letter sound knowledge that we already know about to help us to sound out words. And we've got some eyes up here because we're going to have to look at those letters. And we've got our brain because we're going to be using what we know about those letters and their sounds to help us to read. The last few days we've been encoding. We've been using the word to figure out what letters we need. Today we're going to use the letters to help us read the word. So it's a little switcheroo. Now let's talk about what we'll need today. Today you're going to need your ice cream lines whiteboard and a whiteboard marker. You'll also need a pencil and your practice pages. We won't be using our Sal student book today, just our practice pages. So let's start with a warm-up. Now today for our warm-up, we're going to be talking about all of the sounds that we hear in a word. I've got a list of some words on the board. We're going to be using a new method on our fingers to hear all the different sounds in the word. This is a super important way that we warm up our ears to hear those letter sounds. So I'm going to tell you guys the words and then I'm going to show you how we're going to break them up to hear all the sounds. Our first word here is bag. Bag. Now I want you to get out your hand like this and we're going to be touching our fingers to our thumb for each of the sounds. So in bag, I hear b, a, g. B, a, g. I heard 3 different sounds in that word. B, a, g. Bag. Do you see how we were using our fingers to hear the different sounds? Do you see how we were using our fingers to name all the different sounds? Let's do another one. Our next word is desk. Desk. Let's hear all the different sounds in desk. D, e, s, k. D, e, s, k. That word had 4 different sounds. Bag had 3 different sounds. Desk had 4 different sounds. Pretty cool. Let's do another one. Our next word here is ash. 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 That only had 2 different sounds. But wait a minute. It has 3 letters. How is that possible? We heard a special blend in that word. Our letters SH make the sh sound. Ash. Ash. Pretty cool. Let's look at another word. Our next word is glad. Glad. Let's use our fingers again. G, l, ad. G, l, ad. 4 sounds in glad. 4 different sounds. Ooh. Okay, we're going to do a couple more. We're going to go over to our next side. Our first word is drop. Drop. D, r, a, p. D, r, a, p. Drop. There was 4 different sounds in that word again. Ooh. Our next word is seed. Seed. S-eed. S-eed. Wait a second, there's 4 letters in seed. Ooh, but I noticed that here we have 2 of the same letter. Remember, when we see 2 of the same letter, we only say 1 sound. We're not saying s-e-ed. We're just saying s-eed. We're going to just do 2 more. You guys are doing great. This is a new cool thing we're learning. Our next word is ranch. Ranch. R-a-n-ch. there's 4 sounds in ranch, but there's 5 letters. Ooh. So we had n, and then ch. The 2 letters C and H just make one sound. Ch. There's so many different ways we can blend letters. Pretty cool. All right, last one. And the word is good. Good. G, d. G, d. Good. That has 3 sounds. And again, I see a double letter. I see O and O. But we're not saying g, d. G, d. Just saying the sound one time. Even though there are 2 of that letter, remember when we have 2 of the same letter, we just say the sound one time. Great job! We did such a great job figuring out all the different sounds in these words. Nice job. That's another method you guys can use to hear the different sounds that our letters are making. Let's go on to our next warm-up. Okay, for our next warm-up, we're going to be using our ice cream whiteboard. So get out your ice cream paper whiteboard right now. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be writing down some letter blends. So what we're going to be doing is doing some dictation. Now, dictation means that I'm going to be telling you what to write, and you're going to write it. So I'm going to give you a chance to try it first, then I'll show you what it would look like. So we're going to be writing down some words. The first word I want you to write down is dog. Dog. If you need to pause and sound it out, go ahead and do that now. Dog. What do you hear in dog? Remember, this is some more encoding practice. You're going to figure out the sounds that you hear in that word and then write the letters. So in dog, D, letter D, letter O, G, letter G. Dog, dog. Nice work. Give yourself a pat on the back if you wrote that correctly. Let's move on to our next word. So go ahead, put some finger space, and your next word is going to be sog. Sog. Like something is soggy. Sog. How would you write sog? We just wrote dog. Now we're writing sog. Sog. It would start with letter S, then O for that sound, and G. Sog. Great work. Go ahead, give yourself a pat on the back. Give your brain some love. Doing so good. Okay, we're going to do 2 more. Let's go down to our next line. On the next line, I want you to write God. God. How would you write God? And let's start the word with an uppercase letter. How would we do that? Well, we're going to start with that G sound. Uppercase G, G, A, D, God. Nice work! You guys are doing so well. Let's do one more. For the last word, I want you to write another name. It's going to be Doc. Doc. How do we write Doc's name? D-A-C. Remember, we're going to start with an uppercase because when we do a name, we always start with uppercase. Very good! We were doing some practice with our O sounds in the middle for these words. The last few days we've been doing a lot of practice with the A sound in the middle. These words all have the A sound in the middle. Awesome job! I think we're ready to move on to our practice page. Okay, so this is practice page 37. I know that this page comes before practice page 38, but I'm going to have you skip it for now, and then we're going to do practice page 38 together, and you'll do 37 by yourself. So let's turn the page one more time to practice page 38. All right, Now remember that our job today is to decode. We're going to be blending our letter sounds together to read the words. So I'm going to start by putting my name at the top. And now, just like we were doing in reading class with our, just like we did in reading class yesterday with our baseball players and our baseball cards, we're going to be blending these beginning sounds together. We're going to be blending these letters together to make the beginning sounds in somebody's name. So we have some of our super kid friends here. I see Cass, I see Doc, I see Golly, and I see Sal. We need to figure out which of these letters go with their names. They're going to be the beginning sounds of each of their names, the first two letters in their names. Then, once we figure it out, we're going to write them on the line. So I'm going to begin with these letters here. First, I'm going to trace them, and then I'm going to sound them out. So I see a D and an O. So remember, letter D says D, and letter O says ah. D, ah. But that's not how we read. I'm going to blend them together nicely. Da, da, da. Which one of our super kids starts with the da sound? Is it Cass? Ca, da. That doesn't sound the same. Is it Doc? Doc. It's Doc. So what I'm going to do is write these letters on the line next to Doc's name to show that her name begins with the da sound. Great job. Remember that we're using an uppercase letter to start with names. Let's go to our next blend. I see a C and an A. I'm going to trace the letters. Now I need to figure out which one of our super kids starts with that sound. So let's figure out what the sound is. K, ah, k, ah, ka, ka. Whose name starts with ka? Is it Golly? No. Is it Sal? Sa, ka. They're similar, but they're not the same. What about Cass? Yeah, Cass. So I'm going to write these letters on the line next to Cass's name. Ca. Perfect. Let's move on to our next letters here. I see an S and an A. So I'm going to trace them, and then I'm going to blend those sounds together. Remember, S says S and A says ah. S, ah. Sa. Sa. Whose name begins with Sa? Is it Golly or Sal? It's Sal. Sal. Sal begins with the Sa sound. So I'm going to write those letters on the line next to his name. And our last letters here, we have a letter G, G, and a letter O, Ah. Remember, these are just the first letters of their name. So, you know, G and O does spell a word. It spells go. But we're thinking about the sound it would make in someone's name. So we're going to pretend there would be other letters after it. So we're going to sound it out with the letter sounds that we've learned. G, ah, ga. Just like in Golly. So I'm going to write those letters next to Golly's name. Woohoo! All right, that was really, really great decoding of those sounds. Now, I'm going to have you do one more practice page, but it's going to be your homework. So let's turn to it and I'll tell you what you're going to be working on. Okay, now we're back to practice page 37. So you had to flip backwards one, and here's your homework. On this page, you're going to be reading the letters at the top of the page. You're going to be reading the letters above each picture. Then you're going to look at the picture and decide, which one of these words shows me what's going on in the picture? You're going to circle the word that does and then write it in the box below. I'm going to help you with the first one, then you're going to do the next two by yourself. So my step one is I'm going to read the two words on the top of the picture. So let's start over at the first word on the left side. And I'm going to start by using my finger to go under the word and say each letter sound. Sad, 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 sad. So I read it nice and smoothly, connecting all my sounds, and I can see this word says sad. Now I'm going to read the next word. Sag, 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 sag. So what about this picture? Does this picture show me sad or sag? Well, I can see that it's a picture of Sal, and he doesn't look super happy. So I think this picture shows me sad. So I'm going to write that on the line below. Sad. Now for your homework, I want you to complete the next two boxes. And then I want you to take a video showing me how you read the words in these boxes and which one is shown in the picture. So if I was turning in my homework, and I'm just going to do this one just because that's the only one I'm showing right now, then I would say sad, sag. This picture shows me sad. So that's what you're going to do in your video, okay? All right, good luck. I can't wait to see how it turns out.